Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship here with another Velocity Banking video. So, you may have noticed that I tend to use words like cult, brainwashing, those types of words. And the reason I do that is because I want you to devote yourself to the craft, right? If this is something you truly want to learn, do it over and over again. And a lot of times, what happens in modern society is that we're just surrounded by people who don't want to devote themselves, and it's just gimme, gimme, gimme. And I remember when I first started this channel, I was getting all these emails of like, gimme, 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 gimme velocity banking sheet. And I was just like, ugh, that's the energy I don't want. I want people to say, hey, how can I learn and practice this over and over again, right? And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of The Simpsons. And there's this scene in The Simpsons where I'll just play it and then I'll let it explain what I'm feeling. But
Got any spare change, man?
Yes, and you ain't getting it. Everybody wants something for nothing. I'm old. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
oh man, like when I got those emails like give me the velocity banking spreadsheet, I'm like, oh, that is that the type of energy you want to transmit over the internets? And the other thing too is we live in a society full of amateurs, and I remember back in the day in 2007, back when social media first started. I think the Facebook started in 2004, and I forgot when YouTube started, but there was a book called "The Cult of the Amateur: How Today's Internet is Killing Our Culture." Interesting, right? Very, very interesting. And so, I feel like the people these days, they just don't commit to anything. They like the idea of committing to something, but they don't commit to it. And that's why I tend to use the words like brainwashing and cult a lot when it comes to whatever it is I'm teaching, because I want you to study it. And I want you to kind of, if I give you something, just repeat it over and over again to the point you get sick of it. And then once you get sick of it, you just keep doing it over and over again, and also get a good 8 hours night of sleep, right? 8 hours night of sleep, healthy food, rinse and repeat velocity banking. What could go wrong? And another thing too is that a lot of times people don't understand how making $10 or $20,000 works as you get older, right? As an adult, like when I was a child, like I think I was like brainwashed into thinking, oh, it's about how hard I work, right? And that's true, when you first start out or you're an hourly wage employee. And hard work does kind of semi matter, but this is how I think about like expertise and mastery. You ever hear that Picasso analogy? So I'm just gonna quick this. I generated in ChatGPT. It says one day Picasso was sitting in a cafe when a woman approached him to ask if he could draw her a portrait on a napkin. Picasso agreed. With a few strokes handed to her, and he said that'll be $10,000. The woman was shocked, but it only took you 30 seconds, she protested. And Picasso smiled and replied, no, ma'am, it took me 30 years. And that's how you kind of get paid in the adult world, right? So you put all the skill and effort and talent into what it is that you're doing. And then, because you master what it is that you do, it takes you a couple seconds. It's funny. I could just pretty much go through any sort of velocity banking debt strategy session in probably like 30 minutes. And then, it would probably take the average person like 8 hours to kind of figure it out. Uh, Is that me bragging? Kind of, but I think I deserve the right to brag because why? Oh, because I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. Do you see how I led that flex? Yeah, financial flex. Okay, 2 years and 9 months. Here's another flex that I always have to tell you. I have over $739,000 in lines of credit, and I'm pretty sure people are sick and tired of hearing this. In fact, I'm sick and tired of saying it, but that's the discipline, right? You're sick and tired of saying it, and you just say it over and over again to the point that it just becomes so normal that you're just kind of blowing everyone away, while everyone else is an amateur world. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, so velocity banking, what is it? It's a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt with the help of something called a line of credit. And the first step to velocity banking is the income. Next is the expenses. or I'm sorry, the budget, and then you put the income, the expenses, and then your leftover savings. Because the way that traditional American banking works is that you have your income, expenses, you pay your bills, and then you put the leftover in savings. So even if you have debt, it's still seen as responsible for trying to have some savings, which is what we're not going to do. So in velocity banking, we're going to have the same income, okay, same expenses, and we're not going to save money. So you see the savings right here, it's going to turn to zero, right? And then we have our income minus our expenses, and then what we're going to do is have this number called cash flow, which is the amount of debt that gets reduced, but it's not the same as savings, right? It's conceptually different. Like when we do average American style banking, right? We kind of think of as the cash flow and the savings is kind of the same, right? But we don't do that with velocity banking. Okay, we gotta eliminate the debt. Eliminating debt makes life a lot easier because if you ever done like a real estate like analysis, the best uh, cash flow that you'll probably get as a landlord is like a couple $100 a month, right? The best case scenario. So if it's like $200 a month saved, versus like I don't know $2,000 of cash flow, I would choose the two. I would not choose the $200 a month saved, if that makes sense. And I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so now we've done that, and next thing is we need a line of credit. So what's a line of credit? Well, it's basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So I have many, many lines of credit, which I just showed, but this is my home equity line of credit for $373,500, right? $373,500 home equity line of credit. Okay. And then if you take a look here, right, you see how easy. So basically, it's so easy to pull out money from a line of credit. It's just a simple click on the bank's website. And this is what I call the Pablo Picasso moment, where it's like, we're have, hours and hours of content of doing the same thing. And I have over 1,000 videos on this channel. And then, when you actually do it, it's kind of shocking because it's just like one click. And you're like, "What? That's it? That's it? That's velocity banking? Just a click on the bank's website?" Right? Like there's no, screen, kind of like a video game. You know how like video games have achievements these days? There's no screen that says, "Congratulations, you did velocity banking," right? But it's literally just a click on the bank's website. But in order to figure out why you're clicking the this button on the bank's website, that's what all the study's for, right? And so funds transfer, line of credit to checking account. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. And so it's so easy to pull money out of a line of credit, but we're not gonna save money. Okay. So you can see right here, this is my checking account. It's zero. Money comes in, it goes out. So the difference between how we treat our checking account in this column versus this column is that the checking account here in this column, okay, I'm gonna tell you, is treated as the final destination of your money. Okay. Whereas in this column, the checking account is just seen as the middleman. The checking account is not that important. It's the middleman, right? That's all it is. It's not used to store money. That's ridiculous. We're gonna dump all of our money into debt. Okay, dump all of it into debt. That's what we're gonna do. All right, and so what we're gonna do is we have this thing called the cash flow index, right? And so it's just the formula of the balance of your debt divided by the payment. And then it does, it gives you all of this. It's like a ranking system, right? The lower the number, the better. And then the higher the number, that's like not so good. Why? Is because you get little bang for your buck for paying off the debt. And the biggest mistake a lot of times people have when it comes to paying off debt is they think about emotional significance rather than just like practicality. So sometimes if people got a lot of money, they'd be focused on paying off that mortgage first, right? Because it's where you live, you're emotionally tied to it. But why is paying off your mortgage first a bad idea? It's because you have to pay someone $270,000 to get only $1,100 of cash flow back, right? That's a no bueno. That's a no bueno, right? We don't do that here in this brainwashing cult session. No, 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 no. Because what we can do is we can pay a lot less. So for example, if I pay 37,000, right, in credit card debt, That's more cash flow than this mortgage. Okay. So that's why I want to pay this all off, and we're going to do that today. And we're going to assume that we have a free and clear line of credit, $260,000. Now, if you have only $100 left over after all expenses paid, is the bank going to give you a line of credit? No, no, because the bank does not want people who need money. They don't lend money to people who need it. That's kind of like the secret of all of this, okay? That's the secret. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. So a lot of times people are like, "How do you do velocity banking if you're poor?" I mean, it's easy because you just got one credit card, right? Or one loan, unless it's a giant student loan and you are unemployed. Okay. So but that's the secret to debt is that banks don't lend money to people who need it. And if you need money, you're seen as a bad person by the bank because telling anybody, in the bank, telling someone you need money according to the bank's human language translator just means that you're not going to pay him back, right? You're not going to pay him back. And you know this too. If you've ever had friends and family borrow money from you and they said the magic words, it's because I need it, they won't pay you back. Okay. So banks don't lend money to people who need it. So that's what we're not going to do anymore. All right. So let me just go back here. And then, all right. So why do we demonstrate a free and clear line of credit? Just because it makes the demonstration easier. Although I do have realistic scenarios, two realistic scenarios in the YouTube membership, 99 cents a month, right? Where someone sent me unsolicited their spreadsheets and had 22 debts, and another one had like 14 debts. And in the 22 debt scenario, there's only like $9 left over, literally. It's crazy, right? So if you want something more realistic, but a little bit more messy to kind of untangle, that's what the YouTube channel membership's for. All right, so let's go ahead and I am going to do this and take these credit cards, right? So 5, 8, 15, 27, 37, 10, right? And then I'm going to take these, and that's $102,000 of credit card debt. So that's going to do 102,000. Okay. And then guess what happens there? Well, these go to zero, right? So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then we literally went from $98 of savings, like $98 of savings, to $3,411.75 of cash flow. Mm-hmm. And this part here probably would take the average person maybe like, I don't know, a couple of days to kind of just feel comfortable with, probably even more, right? But this is what I mean. Like, this is your Pablo Picasso moment. This is your Pablo Picasso moment where understanding this might take some time because I've demonstrated this to people in real life before. And then I asked them to demonstrate to me, they can't do it because they didn't practice. You got to practice your, I don't know, I don't want to say 30 years, maybe like, just a few months. Keep practicing. Okay. And increase your cash flow. Okay, final step is you put your entire paycheck into the line of credit, take your expenses out, and rinse and repeat over and over again. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And then we're going to take the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, minus our cash flow. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, do this right here, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. And then you copy and paste here. And then you see alakablam or alakazam, or, well, I don't even know what the right word is, Shazam. It's all paid off. So 34 months and 102K of debt. Okay. And then now we have 2 auto loans, 2 student loans, and a mortgage. So let's just kind of go through this really quickly because I'll be honest, I'm kind of tired. Maybe I want to go to sleep. I've been tired a lot lately, and I try to get as much sleep as possible, but maybe it's because, I did take a break from my computer. Oh, I'm sleepy. You hear that sleepiness? Oh, man. All right. So now 34 months. And then you see this right here. So we have this loan calculator here that'll show us the current balances. And then you could see right here, right, 25, 25, 69, 67, 22. So you just take these lowest cash flow indexes right here, and I'm gonna do that, and copy and paste, and then I'm gonna take the sum of that, 26 grand. And then what we do is we move the 2 car loans here, get them paid off, transfer them into the line of credit, plus 26083.93. And then let me just do this 00. All right, 4,000 cash flow. Look how easy this is, right? But that's because I'm the Pablo Picasso of velocity banking. Spent 30 years studying this. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't spend 30 years. Although I have known this strategy for a while. So once you know this strategy for a while, you just it's like whatever, not that fascinating, right? It's just whatever. I really don't care. All right, so let me just kind of go here. So month 40, month 40. And then this would be 102 plus 40 plus 17 and 159K. All right. And then let's just do this. So this is going to be 00, 40. Month 40 is the current balance. So I'll move this one first. 22 grand into the line of credit. I'll move one student loan here, plus 22216 point. Oopsie. And I'm burping a lot today. All right, so now we had extra $348, $4,800 of cash flow. And I'm just going to do this. Bam, bam. 808.56. And then 45 months. We paid off 189K. Some people complain like you go way too fast, right? That's like complaining to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, you're way too fast at martial arts. Slow down. Okay. And actually that did happen. I heard that when he was recording, I think it was the Green Hornet, dude was so fast that he had to slow himself down. I don't know if that was true for that show, but I heard that for one of the things he was filming, right? So, I'll take that as a compliment. I'm the Bruce Lee or Pablo Picasso of this stuff. Hello there. Okay. All right. So now, wait a minute. Hold on. No, I put in the wrong month. My bad. This is going to be month 45. Yeah, month. Oh, what? Strange. Okay. All right, never mind. All right, so now month 45 is going to be 0, 45, 45. We'll move this student loan into the line of credit. I'm going to do this right here. Bam. Bam. 41575.17. There's going to be 0. And then $5,000 of cash flow. All right, so now this is going to be 5474.68. And then this is going to be 53 months. Bam, bam. Alakazam. $249K. And then the mortgage, the 30-year mortgage, I'm just going to go back here. So this is 0, month 53. Let's see, not 553. Month 53 is right here. So, all right. So now with the 30-year mortgage, got to be a little bit careful. Notice that the interest rate is 3%, and we have a 30-year term, which means that that cash flow index is very, very high. So one of the reasons why you might not want to move whole thing into a line of credit is because you'll end up paying a lot more interest. But if you use something called chunking, which is just moving a piece of the loan into a line of credit, might be a good idea, or might be not. I don't know. But I'll just do that for now. Luckily, I got this calculator here where I could just calculate everything, and it's kind of like a cheat sheet, right? If you want to see how that works. But how much income? 8613.01, 8613.01, and I'll just put $9,000 chunk. And what's the current balance? It is 243,777.28. 243,777.28. And then, wow, we paid off in 3.3 years. Interesting. Now, let's see what happens when we move this entire thing into an 8% line of credit. Look, we paid 37 grand instead of the 13. We can even use a 30% credit card, and we'll end up paying less than that 8%, what they call a first lien HELOC, replacing the loan with the line of credit, right? So 3.3 years. Okay, 3.3 years. This is going to be 0. And then this is going to be 45 divided by 12 plus 3.3. And then 7.05 years. And then we're debt free. Yeah. Okay, so that's 7 credit cards, 2 autos, 2 student loans, and 1 mortgage. All right. That was easy. So, yep. Oh man, I'm so tired. I think I can go to sleep now again. Yeah, upload this video and then go to sleep. So, if you made it to the end of this video, okay, and you're looking for the secret code word for me to let me know that you watched to the end, okay? Type in the comment box below. That will be $10,000. Okay? That will be $10,000. All right, that's the secret code word of the day. That will be $10,000. All right, well, that's it for today, folks. Korean Language Mentorship. See you in the next video, and have a great day.